All right.
Right,
so
but now we have audio.
Okay, let's do it again. Okay. 你好，我是泱泱。
I'm Jason.
Okay, Jason is our Yoyo Chinese product manager and is an avid Chinese learner for the past 10 years.
Yep, that's right. I've been learning Chinese. I lived in both China and Taiwan, and I've been learning Chinese for a long time.
And Jason speaks fluent Chinese.
还好.
Today we're going to tackle something really challenging, which is to teach you how to read a Chinese menu.
Yeah, and as we'll show you in a second, that can be that can seem like a really overwhelming thing, right? So rather than trying to teach you every single thing from A to Z, we're going to teach you a couple really nice tricks, basically, to unlock Chinese menus with a little bit of effort.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So even if you don't have any background
Yeah.
or don't know anything about Chinese characters, you'll be able to walk away with something really useful and be able to read the menu in a way.
Yeah, this is really great for people who don't know any Chinese characters, right? We're not just, this is for anybody.
Right.
Not even Chinese language learners, just anyone who's even interested in traveling to China.
Yeah, your grandma and grandpa, right?
That's right.
So, well, first we're going to give a lecture, and after that we're going to take questions from you in the comment section. So start leaving comments there and let us know who you are, okay? 好, let's get started, huh?
All right.
Finally. All right, let's do it. Okay. How to read a Chinese menu 101. So let's actually look at a Chinese menu. Oh, just a second. There we go. Oh. Okay.
Yeah, and this is what we were just talking about, how it can be so overwhelming when you look at a Chinese menu and you don't know.
Scary looking, yeah.
Yeah, and you don't know Chinese. You're just like, oh my gosh, I'm probably gonna have to learn like 1,000 characters before I can even order food in China.
Yeah, I know that, Jason, you told me the story about how you were ordering Chinese food in China at first.
Yeah, like after the first time I was traveling in China, I had not really learned any Chinese characters at all, and I could hardly speak. And I went into a restaurant, and I just really wanted to be adventurous, like a good traveler. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to order 2 things off the menu randomly and just enjoy that. So I looked at the menu, the waitress came over, and I said, all right, I'll have one of these and one of these, you know, basically just pointing. And she looked at me and said, are you sure? You know, I could tell she was saying, are you sure? I was like, yes, that's what I want. That's what I want. And, you know, I thought she was saying, are you sure? Because I was being so adventurous, right? That maybe I wouldn't like it because I was a foreigner. But, you know, 10 minutes later, out comes this big thing of soup. And I'm like, oh, great, got some soup. I start eating the soup. And then like another 5 minutes later, another big thing of soup comes out. So I just ordered these 2 massive bowls of soup. And if I would have known some of the stuff we're going to talk about today, which is how easy it is to find the character for soup or the characters that we're going to teach you, I would have been able to avoid that and still be adventurous, right?
Yes. Okay, let's look at some useful words, okay, in the menu. So at the end, you'll be able to look at something like this and be able to order what you want. All right,
Exactly.
So magic happens now. Let's first talk about meat. 肉, right?
Yeah.
First, you don't need to know how to say these words, okay?
Yeah, we could teach them as we go and mention them, but the point of this exercise is just to memorize basically how to read these characters.
Okay. So this is the first character. All right. So Jason, I know that you can read pretty much everything in Chinese.
Yeah.
So, but why don't you just pretend you don't know, and
I'm
we
gonna
can just
do the rewind button on my mind and try to go back to what it felt like as a newbie. It's kind of hard to do that, but I will do my best and imagine what it's like if I had no knowledge of Chinese characters.
All right. So this is the meat, right? But how can you link this character to meat? So, Jason, why don't we do this, right? Does this look like a piece of meat in any way to you?
I think if I looked at that, I could see like almost like the lines in like a steak or something. Like I see like
the marble
marbling.
kind of. Okay,
that's where my mind would go, I think.
All right, so why don't we do this? Okay, so let's see. This is like okay, maybe a frame. Okay, a metal frame, and then on the frame there is like a hook, right? Imagine, and then on the hook there are like pieces of meat. Okay,
so it's kind of like a butcher window, right? Like what you'd see in a market, where they're hanging up those cuts of meat and they're hanging from a hook, right?
Right. So if you actually go to a Chinese food store and you can actually see them hanging the roasted duck, roasted chicken, it kind of looks like this, right? So, okay, hold on. All right, so let's go to let's see what it looks like, okay?
Yeah, click again,
So this is the image, right? So it really looks like a metal with meat on it.
Yeah,
right?
and that's what's so cool about Chinese, right? And that's the whole point of this exercise. But just to bring that up again, that you can really create these interesting image mnemonics for yourself to memorize characters that may or may not be based on the actual meaning of the character.
Sometimes it is.
Sometimes it is. I think in this case it probably was. Right?
And also, the image on this on the right hand side is actually from our Yoyo Chinese 300 characters,
Yes.
right? This is one of the characters
Yep.
imaged from there. All right, let's continue. So and then we write the character on top of the image, and you see that it matches, right? So it's a zhou, which
Nice.
means meat. Okay, just remember a metal frame with hook and meat.
Some steaks hanging in the hook.
All right, so let's look at the next one. Okay, so Jason, I know, you know, but okay, anyway. So guess this is one of them is a sheep or lamb, and the other is a cow. Okay, so which one is a sheep or goat? The other is a cow. So which one is which?
So if you say cow, right, then I don't imagine there being any horns. If you say bull, then maybe I would think horn. But if we're talking about the difference between cow and sheep, then I would say this one on the left here,
Okay, so this
our
one.
left, is the sheep.
So you think this is sheep,
Yeah,
right?
I would say so.
Okay.
Because it has horns, right? You can see
Okay,
these
you
two
think
things
this is like
sticking
a
off the top.
horn, right? Okay,
Yep.
so like maybe like a goat, right?
Yeah.
Like a lamb doesn't have. Lamb has horn too, but a
I
goat.
don't know.
But
Yeah.
in Chinese, we call lamb, goat is the same, just yang.
Yeah, yang.
Mhm.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
character is pronounced yang.
All right, so let's see if he's right. Yeah, he's right. Of course, he's right. Okay, so let's do this. Okay,
Yes.
so this is a yang image, right? So it's a goat, and then if you
And
put-
this is actually based on the appearance of a goat, right? The original character, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. And also this is a yang is from the character our Yoyo 300 character as well. You'll see it there. Okay.
And what's cool about these, I should say too, is that as a learner, it's not like every time you see the character for yang, you need to remember this image necessarily. But what's great is once you know the image, you can kind of reverse and go, okay, what is this character? And then think of it while you're trying to remember.
Exactly.
Right? If you know what I mean. Rather than, it's not like you have to see the image necessarily directly.
Okay, let's continue. All right, so this is Niu. Okay.
Yeah, this one I'm a little more skeptical on, you know, like that we can come up with a good image for this because what about this looks anything like a cow, right? And I've always felt that way.
Yeah, actually, when we develop our Chinese character course, right, sometimes we're able to come up with something really clever, and sometimes maybe not so clever. So what I'm saying is that if you have better mnemonics or image in your head to remember
Yeah.
these words, actually leave a comment in the comment section or share with
Yes.
other users. I'm sure you probably will have something even better than what we do. Okay, so do that. So let's take a look at this.
By the way, I haven't seen all of these, so that makes it more interesting. Yeah, this one I have seen, but it's like a post, right? Which kind of makes you think of like cowboys.
Yeah, it's
Right?
like
Cowboys.
the frame, or what do you call these things?
Like a post or a fence or something.
like a
yeah.
fence.
But it's not a very effective fence if it,
In the Wild
if it ends
West.
on the sides, but
Oh.
this is like a
Well,
post.
you can imagine there's like a circle around
Yes.
it, so it extends forever.
Yep.
So this is a fence like the Wild West in the U.S., and this is
Mm-hmm.
a cowboy hat. Cow. So that's how we associate cow with this.
It's actually pretty good. I think sometimes
clever, huh?
interestingly enough, if I find the mnemonic like, oh, it doesn't exactly match what I would have thought, I remember it better because I'm like, oh yeah, that's the funny one that I wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah, learning characters can be really, really fun because you can use all your imagination. I think the weirder,
Yeah.
the more weird and the more relevant to you, and the stickier it will be.
Totally.
Okay, so let's
So this is, by the way, this is Niu,
Yeah, Niu.
means cow.
Yeah, means cow. Okay, let's continue.
Oh, you gotta get the
Oh, yeah.
the red off.
So, okay, so now we put the character on Niu. Okay,
Nice.
so, okay, oh, so let's do this. Okay, so this one is yu. Okay, it means
Yu.
fish. But how is this character related to fish? And let's take a look. Maybe we can, Jason, why don't you imagine it with me, okay? So this is, can you imagine this? Maybe this is like a hook, you know, like when you
like a fishing
fish.
hook,
Yeah,
yeah.
fishing hook, right? Okay, then when you have like fish, then this is like a fish body. You know, there's like fish fin, right?
Yep.
And this is more like
the
a
gills or something on the
yeah,
side.
and this is like a tail, you know, because like fish usually have these like long tail, right? So I know it's a little bit of a stretch, but try to just visualize it, right?
No, I can see it. Yeah, for sure. I feel like fish, this one is one of the good ones. I when I look at this and I think of a fish picture, like the one we're about to show. Let's
do it. Let's do it.
I think it's great.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So it does look like a hook, right? Like a hook here, right? A hook, a body, which looks like a square with a cross in it.
Lines on it.
Yeah, there's a line, right? So this is yu, which means fish. All right. So
you can also imagine maybe it's like the hook is like pulling the fish out of the water, and that's what the line is. I don't know. That just crossed my mind.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, we highly encourage you to come up with your own mnemonics. Okay. So let's continue. Oh, I need to delete this.
Nice.
Okay.
Cool.
Next one. Okay, we'll put yu on it. So, okay, it's yu. Okay.
Yu, fish.
All right.
All right, this one's a little more complicated, right? This is the most complicated one of the meats.
All right, so let's imagine, okay? So this is the kind of thing that you eat with the feet, with a crest, with eyes, with wings. Okay, so maybe...
Frog?
No, frogs don't have wings. So imagine this as some sort of like an eating bowl.
Okay.
An eating bowl, okay. And this is sort of like something, the eye,
I can see that. Yeah.
the crest, and the head,
Yep.
and the body, and then the wing. Okay.
Nice.
All right,
yeah, that's pretty good, especially with a mouse. Nice.
All right, let's do it. Let's see.
So it's a chicken, right?
Yeah, it's a chicken. Okay, G. All right, so let's see the next thing.
Nice.
Kind of looks like a G, right?
Yeah. I think the thing on the left is a little ambiguous. Like, oh, what is that on the left? It's something they're eating out of. Maybe it's some, I don't know, wall or something, whatever. But the right part, which actually by itself does mean bird.
Yeah, it means bird,
in Chinese. But is very clearly a bird once you can think of it that way. Right?
Yeah, this one means bird. It has a crest.
Yep.
And it has eyes.
Yeah.
And it has wings. Yeah?
G.
And then, I know this is a little bit out of proportion, but always remember when you have a G character, the G is always eating. Yeah.
To get nice and fat or something. So, I don't know.
Okay, let's see the character on top of G.
Nice.
Yeah, so it covers everything, right? So maybe you can even imagine this as a little feet, right? Like little feet here.
Yep.
Chicken feet is the best.
Oh boy.
Have you
I think that's
tasted
on some of our menus. Oh yeah.
Yeah, G-Dras. Oh, sounds good. It's good. Okay, so next, let's go to the next one. G, chicken.
Oh, first you get rid of the,
Yeah.
get rid. Oh, cool.
Okay.
Nice.
Alrighty. So that's all the meat. Okay, this one.
This is the best one.
Okay, so this is not actually a meat, but this is sort of like we call a skewer.
Yeah, and it's super obvious.
Yeah.
One look at this character. I think anybody can learn this character, right? The minute you go to China, you look at a menu and someone tells you what this means, you will never forget it.
This
it's
is pronounced
so
as
obvious.
Chuan, C-H-U-A-N, fourth tone, right? Just in case you want to know. Chuan. And chuan means skewer. And then let's take a look at the image. It's pretty obvious, right?
So it's a skewer with two full-size potatoes on it,
Yeah,
which is pretty funny, but...
You don't do
not a
potato
full-size
skewer?
potato. Yeah, but maybe do like slices or something. But yeah, just a huge skewer with full potatoes. That actually sounds pretty good. But
you can think of chuan as maybe a kebab.
yeah, it's a
right?
kebab, right? So in China, on the street and even in restaurants, you'll see very common to sell barbecued skewers. We're gonna get more to that in a second. So.
Okay, so this is the chuan, the character on top of the image. All right, so let's see this one.
There it is. So this is 羊肉串, right?
Yeah, the lamb skewer. Oh, it's so tasty.
It's so good.
You
And
see them everywhere in China.
yeah, there's little small ones that are cheap, and there's really big ones with juicy pieces on it that are more expensive, and
Yeah, and they're usually sold by people from Xinjiang province.
Yep. Yeah, this is like a popularized from Xinjiang food. But as you can see, there's like spices on there, and it's so good.
See, this is like spicy. A little bit spicy, a little bit like 五香粉, the 5 fragrance.
Like allspice or something?
Yeah, allspice. Yeah, all spice powder. Okay, so let's continue.
But we're going to teach you here in a second on a menu for barbecue how to order this and how to find it.
All right, so ready? Go.
So these are the three characters, right?
You know
It's
all
so
of them?
logical. We learned all three of these, right?
Yeah, okay, so Jason, do you remember the first one has a
Horns
has a little horn, and then the
Yep.
second one?
is the frame with meat hanging in the frame.
Yes.
So now we have sheep meat and then skewer.
Yes.
So
okay, so
mutton skewers or lamb skewers, lamb
lamb
kebabs.
skewer. Okay, very good. So let's see the next one.
Same thing, but with the fence and the cowboy hat. So 牛肉串.
牛肉串 is the beef skewer,
Yep.
right? The thing is, in Chinese, even though 牛 means cow, right? When we say beef, it's literally cow meat.
Yeah.
So that's 牛, right? 牛肉. So this is 牛肉, which means beef. This
Exactly.
means beef.
That's what's so great about learning these Chinese menu terms is that even this level of Chinese is very logical, right? Cow meat skewer.
Cow meat
sheep
skewer.
meat skewer. Chicken meat
Exactly.
skewer.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I think we have chicken next, right?
Let's see.
Yes. So-
Again, let's review this real quick. How do you remember this?
So it's a bird eating out of something on the left, right?
Yeah, so the
With
crest,
its crest and the eye and the wing,
and
the feet.
yes. Okay,
Nice.
let's go to the next one.
So this is at the top there, even if you can't read it, don't worry. It says 新疆美味烧烤, right?
Yeah, so this
it's
means
like gourmet Xinjiang barbecue.
yeah, exactly. All right, so let's see what we can already read here.
So the top on the left, we have what we just learned. So mutton skewers. If you wanted to play it safe and you only knew those three characters, right? That's enough. Just order 10 of those or something.
Yeah, pure lamb meat.
And you'll see below this, right, is a bunch of other things with yang in it. So this is super common in China because it's not just yang rou that people eat, right? They also eat all other parts of the body of the animal. And that's, really common in China. So you'll see sections of the menu devoted to one animal. And you can get all different types of meats from that animal.
Yeah, this one is really just like the sheep tendon, lamb tendon.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what other things do you see here?
So we have chicken. So it looks like on the left is all the yang stuff, and on the right we have ji. So all these top
good,
4
good,
or
good.
5 are all chicken stuff.
Chicken. And then this is the zhou here, right?
Yep. So
Yeah.
chicken meat.
Chicken meat. So
Yeah.
that's probably the safest choice for you if you don't know what you're doing.
I love chicken.
Right? And then there's like chicken here.
Yes. And actually this is ji zhua.
鸡爪, yeah. So
Zhua.
that's a chicken feet, right?
Yeah.
So looks like someone's like hand, like 3-finger hand.
Like a claw.
A claw, exactly.
That's what it is.
Okay, so what else do you see here?
We have, there's nothing on the right that we can read yet, but we'll come back to that
Yeah. Left.
later. We have fish. So we
Yeah.
have two different fish ones.
鱼, right? With the, the hook, remember?
Yep.
The hook, the body, and then maybe out of the water, or maybe that's like a tail.
What kind of fish is that?
I don't know.
I have no idea either. But then below that, what's interesting too is that.
The second one, this is actually not really fish, but we call this it's the squid fish.
Yeah, yoyu.
Yeah,
Right?
yoyu,
Yeah.
So let's just move on. So it's
But the point is that even with just the words for meat, skewer, chicken, beef, fish, and lamb or whatever, goat, you can order a lot off of a barbecue menu, right?
yes, you can. All right, let's continue.
If you're a meat eater, we'll do vegetarian stuff.
Yeah, exactly. We're not gonna leave you guys behind, the vegetarian people. Okay, so let's just do another one.
So here's another one. Yep.
Real
All
quick.
right. Let's see. So here's a yang.
Okay.
And a yang again on the top.
Okay, so if you want lamb stuff, and then that's yang.
But that's the
right?
expensive yang, right?
Yeah,
so
this is 10
that's
RMB.
another trick to, I think, Chinese menus is looking at the prices. So if you know this is yang and it's a high price, maybe it's a good cut of meat or something large, probably.
Right. What's the safest dish here?
That's yang rou chuan.
Yes, there's a yang rou chuan here, right? There's the yang rou chuan. There's the
Is there jiro?
and there's a
no
da
jiro.
yang rou chuan.
Nice.
See, like a big lamb skewer.
Yep.
So what else? Let's see if there's any chicken stuff here.
I don't see any chicken. There's got to be chicken.
There's
Oh,
so
here's
much,
one.
There's so much. Let's just
Oh, on
do
the
one.
top.
Okay, let's do it.
Yep.
Yeah, here there's one, and here there's one. Okay.
Nice. Okay.
The bird eating out of a bowl with crest, eyes, and wings and feet. Good.
Nice. Yep.
Okay, let's move on. Yay! We use the, yeah, see, we're not really doing a menu. Yay. Okay. Okay, now let's talk about vegetables. Vegetables is green leaf vegetables. Okay, so this we call a radical, or like a character component. So what does that mean? Chinese characters is not a bunch of random lines. It actually has patterns. So each Chinese character, if it has something to do with vegetables or plants-based, and usually you will see this character over here. You see? So Jason, when people see this one, what can you imagine what this can be? If I say, okay, how about this? I just tell you, and then you tell me if it sounds right.
Yeah.
Okay, like the ground.
Yeah.
And grass.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, something about when you think of grass, right? You think of sprouts coming out, and that kind of has this feeling too, right? There's a line and there's stuff sticking out of it.
Yes.
Which is what I associate with, at least with grass.
Yes. So whenever you see this radical, it just means plant. Anything plant-based, you know, like any vegetables or fruits. Fruits. No, not fruits. Vegetables or
mushrooms.
Mushrooms. Yeah, exactly.
Fungus.
All, like vegetarian stuff. Okay. So let's do one.
Oh, we gotta get rid of it.
All right. Okay, so this grass.
Exactly. Nice.
Yeah, so this is the radical.
Yeah, you can find this in all kinds of characters. And if it's in the character, you know it's got to have something to do with vegetables.
Exactly. Right. So even if you don't understand the rest part of the character. So, okay, this character looks complicated, right? But let's dissect it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 strokes, right?
Okay, yes. It looks complicated, but let's dissect this. So you know this part, the grass. Radical. Okay. And then this part, okay? So this part. Okay, so this part is actually like the hand, right? You have like arm and hand.
That's what it actually means?
Yes. Yeah. Actually, it does means hand, okay? And this part, you see the bottom part? That means tree. So let me show you why it sounds like tree, you know? Like, so how can you make this as a tree? What do you think, Jason?
Looks like a Christmas tree to me, right? Like the middle line is the trunk, and then maybe the top is like a big branch at the top or something, and then the bottom is like the skirt. Yeah, like a triangle that you would find in a Christmas tree.
Okay, that's a good way. That's a good way. Yeah, cool. So this is mu, right? Don't worry about the pronunciation, but it means like a tree. So under the grass, well, not under the grass, or anything that's like a plant-based, and you have your hand trying to pick stuff from the tree when you're picking vegetables. So that's how you remember this character, okay? So let's see the next one. Nice. Okay, so so it makes sense, right?
Yeah, so instead of using the grass here, like our artist kind of envisioned this cucumber growing fence or whatever you want to call that structure, right? And there's like somebody grabbing at them or pulling them, and yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the character on top of the image. This is the next one, okay, we're going to teach you. It's a vegetarian thing. It's really hard for me to explain to you, but then it means bean. And so now my question for you is, how do you link this character, the shape of this, to
beans?
To beans.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I haven't seen this one.
Let's try this.
Nice.
Well,
just a whole bunch of beans. I like it.
Yeah, it's a different beans, right? String beans, mung beans, there's kidney beans, right?
Yep.
Okay, dough.
And actually, I feel like this character, though, is pretty recognizable because it's so simple and has the box in the middle. So you can just maybe try to remember this box in the middle as being like the core bean, the big bean, right? You can always look for the bean. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have any better idea how to link this character to bean, and let us know.
Yeah, draw us a picture.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue. Bean is dough. Doughs, right?
Dough. Right? And that's the same dough in
tofu.
Tofu for tofu, right?
You know, tofu, yeah. Doughs.
Super useful for vegetarians. And people who like tofu.
Yay. Okay, this one.
I see a cross.
You see a cross?
Yes,
okay.
I was raised in a Christian family, so maybe that's why. But I immediately see a cross, like in the ground, right? That's what I see. Yeah.
So yes, this is the ground, and this actually, imagine this maybe as like a little plant or cross, whatever, but it's on the ground. So this means ground.
Yes.
Okay. So a cross on top of something, that's the ground. Okay, the dirt, like tool, right? Tool. And then let's continue. So this is the dirt and with a little plant on it, right? 土.
Nice. Yeah, so it's a little plant coming out of the ground.
Okay, so 土豆.
Yeah, this is a great one.
土豆. So this is like earth. Okay, so hold on.
So we remember that 土 means dirt.
Dirt, earth.
Right? And 豆 means bean.
Yeah.
So it's dirt beans, which is another great example of how logical Chinese can be, right? And that's the word for
土豆 means potato.
potato.
There.
土豆. So if you see
土豆.
dirt beans, then you know it's potato.
Okay, so vegetarian friends, that here is your word, 土豆. Okay? There's so many different kinds of 土豆. 好，接着. Okay, so now let's see what kind of vegetarian dishes we can order.
So right away in the top one, I see that grass radical at the top of that character on the far right.
Yes, this
Cai,
one, right?
that
Cai,
we
yeah,
learned.
very good. The complicated stuff.
The one below that, we have dou, right?
Yeah, that means like, oh, sorry.
Bean.
Yeah, this is the bean.
Yep.
Yeah, bean. What else?
Two more down. We have two more. Those two in a row. There's two more dou's.
Dou.
And if
right?
you want to try to remember it, the character next to that is the character for fu, so doufu, right?
Yeah, doufu is like bean curd. So if you go with something dou, then you can't go wrong. It has something to do with beans. Okay, what else?
土豆.
Yay, there you go.
Potato.
土豆. Okay, so you got 土豆. And then what else?
I see another grass radical here.
Oh, very good. Oh, this means like bitter, but it has like
苦.
苦瓜, which
苦瓜, don't order 苦瓜.
yeah, bitter melon.
Unless you really like bitter food.
There's another one here. This is 茄子, which is eggplant. See,
Yep.
that's like vegetable, right? Because it has this thing.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
So all of these things are safe for a vegetarian, for
Yeah,
sure.
this whole menu is a vegetarian dish
Yeah.
menu. So cai, right? Like I see here, there's like a jun, fungus, and there's a mushroom.
Yep.
You see, it all has that grass radical.
Yeah, plants or vegetables or whatever.
And see,
Nice.
this is like a bean vegetable, which is this is the bean sprout.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and this is all vegetable. Awesome, cool. By the way, this character, just something quick, it just means RMB, yuan. Okay, let's continue.
So now that you know the character for vegetables and you know the radical for anything related to vegetables, but you also know the word for meat, now you're ready to be able to parse a menu into sections, right?
Yes.
So you look at a menu like this and you say, okay, which side is the vegetables and which side is the meat? Because especially at a barbecue like this, they're gonna separate it, right? So you can tell pretty clearly, right?
Yeah, so this is the barbecue menu. Okay, so Jason, why don't you say which one is which one?
So on the left we have 蔬菜, right?
There
So
you
you
go.
have
Yeah.
double grass radical in those characters, so
Yeah,
it's nice and clear.
Yeah, so when you see two grass radical next to each other, usually this means vegetables, okay? They look complicated, they mean vegetable, 蔬菜.
Yep, and then the other side is 肉. So that's the character we learned in the beginning for meat. And you know that everything below that is going to be either seafood or meat or beef or whatever.
Yes. Oh, by the way, when Chinese people say 肉, just by itself, the meat, the
Yes.
default meaning of that
right.
is 猪肉, is pork.
Yeah, so if you don't see an animal before the character 肉, it's probably pork that's being.
Yes. When you say just something 肉, that means just not
'Cause
something
it's
肉,
like
肉.
the national meat of China, right?
Yeah, that's the default meat for Chinese people. Okay, so this is like a vegetable and this is 肉.
Hey, I have an observation. So we learned that, the right side's going to be meat, the left side's going to be vegetables, but I see a character on the left side that betrays this logic right here.
Oh, I see. Oh, here. Okay.
But we thought this is the vegetarian side, right?
You're right. Actually, here. Okay, so what Jason is talking about is this one, right? So,
素鸡.
yeah, this side is all vegetables, right? But why there's a chicken there?
Because it's the fake meat, right?
Yeah.
Fake chicken.
Exactly. When in Chinese we call anything that's fake meat or any vegetarian dish is like 素, right?
Yep.
If you say I'm vegetarian, you
我
say
吃素.
我吃素, right? 素 is the one. So 素鸡 actually means just fake chicken.
Nice.
Yeah,
It's
so-
really good. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
vegetarian food, and some of the fake chicken I've had in China and Taiwan is really, really good.
So Chinese people have this way of making vegetables taste like meat. It's really tasty, yeah. Okay, so let's continue. All right. All right, so now let's go to the section about
主食, right?
主食, the
So
staple food.
we taught you how to find the vegetables on the menu, how to find the meat on the menu, but obviously Chinese food is not just meat and vegetables. Chinese food is also rice and noodles, which I would say are more important, at least to me as a person who likes to eat food.
Yes, let's see it.
So of the two, I would say this, right? Of rice and noodles, what would you guess this one would be? As somebody out there, all of you to guess. I think it's nice and obvious, but it's because I've seen our awesome image for this one, and I love noodles, so this is the noodle image. And isn't that great? That once you see this, it's very difficult to unsee this, right?
Yes.
So it's chopsticks holding some noodles over a steaming bowl. And yeah, they're nice, and it just makes me hungry looking at it.
Yeah, let's just take a look at this image for longer. Oh,
but if you love noodles, this is the character for you.
Mian.
Yes,
Mian.
Mian.
Yeah.
See?
You know, even in the U.S., you call like fried noodles Chow Mein. Chow Mein,
Yes, Chow Mein. Yeah,
Chow Mein.
And maybe that pronunciation came from Cantonese at some point. I don't know why it's a little different, but yeah, Chow Mein.
Yeah,
that's
Chow Mein.
the same
Yeah,
mian.
M-I-A-N, mian. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is something I want to show you guys. And obviously you see something here that you should recognize now.
Yeah, now we know all three of these characters, right?
What is this?
So beef or cow, meat, noodles.
Yes.
So beef noodles.
Okay, there's another here. Yeah.
And what's awesome about this is that this restaurant is called California Beef Noodle King USA.
Yeah.
But beef noodles come from China.
No, actually Chinese people believe that the beef noodles is from California in the US. So I know this like a group of Chinese people, right? The first thing they get to California, we're located in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And then the first thing they want to get is 牛肉面, 加州牛肉面.
I find that so funny because I've never heard that in Taiwan, so it's definitely a mainland China thing. And 牛肉面 is so ubiquitous in Taiwan. I very much associate it with being a super Chinese Taiwanese thing.
But they call it 加州, which means California state, right? So 加州牛肉面. So you see this like everywhere in China, so many places. So all Chinese people believe this 牛肉面 is actually an American thing. Yeah. So they're
Oh, nice. Yeah.
牛肉面,
牛肉面.
California Beef Noodle King.
Maybe we can try to find one in LA. I bet there's one here.
Never found one.
Everything is here.
Okay, so let's continue. All right.
All right. So this character is about, obviously, if you can see at the top left, it's rice, right?
Right.
But it's not all rice. In English, we just say rice, and it refers to every type of rice, right?
Right. This is mainly about uncooked rice.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see this. How do you remember this character is this? So we call actually the British UK flag 米字旗, which means literally means 米 character flag, and which means rice character flag. We call British flag rice flag.
The Union Jack, right?
Yeah, because you see, like it really is the 米, right?
Totally.
You know, the 米.
Yep.
Right.
Maybe some of our British and UK users can tell us if they love rice. Maybe it's in their flag, right?
Okay, so it's 米. Okay, so 米. All right, so let's continue. Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So 米, this is 饭.
饭.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now 饭 is different than 米, right? Sometimes you put it together and it means 饭, but 饭 by itself is just cooked rice, right? So this bowl of cooked rice, delicious white rice.
And again, this character looks kind of complicated. You might think, how am I ever going to remember this?
It's like Thai, right? Where it seems a little much, but
you know,
I think we have
a way. We always have a way.
I think it's a good one too.
Has a way. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so let's imagine this, right? So this part is the drape.
The edge of the table, or the tablecloth,
The tablecloth draping. And then this is the stand of the little stand. And then this is the...
I like this too because it looks like somebody eating at like one of those night market tables, right?
Yeah.
With little tiny stools and sitting low to the ground. Yeah, it's very Chinese.
Yeah, this is fun, okay?
Yeah.
So next time you see some like a leg hanging on the stool and right next to it there's a little stand, you know that they're eating rice. They're sitting there to eat rice. Fun.
Fun.
Right, fan, cooked rice, and mi is uncooked rice together. Mi fan is still cooked rice.
That's right.
Yay. Pretty clever, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, our illustrator drew this.
Yeah, she's really good.
Yan Feng designed it. Yeah, our academic director Yan Feng designed this. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now it's the character on image. Okay. Let's try this.
Yeah, now we know vegetable. We know all different kinds of meats. We know fish, but we also know noodles and rice. So that can get you really far on a Chinese menu.
Yeah, so we see lots of fun here, right? Yep. This menu is about 木桶饭, which is the rice in the
like a bucket.
In the bucket, a wooden bucket. Yeah. So let's see. There are lots of fun here.
Oh yeah.
So many fun. Okay, there's so many fun.
So now we know every single one of those is a dish. Is a rice dish on this menu, right? Except for the first one.
Okay, so what if like you want different kinds? Like what kind of rice?
I want beef rice.
Yeah, so how...
Is it on there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where is it? Show me.
Oh, I see it. So on the bottom we have two that have both the character for beef, or for the two characters for beef.
牛肉, yeah.
And fan.
So
yeah.
The
and
cowboy
actually,
hat hanging on the fence.
Yep. And they're both pretty good options. So what we're saying is, even if you don't know the rest of this dish, you at least know that you're gonna get beef rice, right? Which is pretty good.
What about this? Like, let's say if somebody who ordered this, they know this. Yeah, this
right?
is
So that's gonna be some sort of potato dish.
And then what about this?
Yu, that's fish.
Okay.
So fish rice.
And what about something like, okay, what about this? If you see this, what do you think this is?
Well, we know it's some sort of vegetable.
Yeah, this vegetable.
And then you might think like, oh, it's vegetable meat. But we got to go back to what you just said, which is that if you see the character for ro without any animal before it, it's pork.
Yes.
Right? So this is actually xianggu rou pian fan. So shiitake mushroom, I think that's xianggu. I'm not,
yeah, you're right.
Shiitake, but it's like the dark black mushroom. I love it. I just don't know what the English word for it is actually. So xianggu is like the dark black mushroom, and then meat, so pork.
Yes.
And pian being sliced or whatever.
Yeah.
But you don't even need to know that, right?
Yeah. And the same thing here, right? So this is obviously some sort of this is 花菜.
花菜.
It's cauliflower. It's a cauliflower, right?
Yeah, and actually, they both have grass. They both have the grass radical. But if you did know that first character means flower, it's cool because it's flower vegetable.
It just really looks like
and we
cauliflower.
say cauliflower, so flower, right?
Oh yes.
Never thought of that.
Never thought about that.
Yeah. The more you know.
Anyway, so the same thing here, right? Okay, so let's continue. There are many.
Yeah, knowing rice and noodle, and I think is like so essential to doing this. So. I gotta get the.
Again, so this is like a bunch of. Oh, sorry. Yeah, again, it's a bunch of
mi fan, right?
Yeah, mi fan, right? It's all mi fan. Okay, so I just want to show you that. And there's like this 牛肉面, right?
Yep.
And there's this another 面. Now you know that you're ordering. Right?
There's fun. There's a whole bunch of fun, yeah.
Lots of fun, okay? So this is the 牛肉米饭, right?
And one thing, I think part of the reason my mind is so set to this idea of rice noodles is because Chinese people, I think that way, right? They'll be like, oh, 你要吃面还是饭? Right? People will say in Chinese, like, oh, do you want to eat rice or noodles tonight? Right? So, like, you're choosing this type of food. And so, in my mind, if I accidentally ordered a different meat, I'd probably be less upset where if I wanted noodles and I got rice. Like the first question is whether or not you want rice.
The thing is that my family's from the south, right? I grew up in Beijing in the north, so all my friends are eating like noodles
in the north,
noodles like those like starchy, doughy stuff, right? But my family's from the south, but we lived in Beijing, so we were eating rice in the house.
Yeah, the north is very much noodle based. The south is very much because the fields and the agriculture was more suitable for rice agriculture. But I these days, hey, it's 2017. We can have rice and noodles, both every day.
Oh. Okay.
There you go.
Okay, now we're talking about
drinks. Yeah, right here there's alcohol.
Yeah.
But I think we talked about a couple drinks, right? So.
Yeah, the first one is 酒.
Yeah, I think this character.
Your favorite.
It speaks for itself, right? I once you think about it, the way that we're gonna show it, like it's this jug here, it's really easy to remember, I think.
Okay, so let's see how we're gonna do this. Okay, first, Earlier, remember we learned this like a cai, the grass radical. That means that indicates anything that's plant-based, right? But now we're going to learn another one. We call this like 3-dot water radical, okay, component. So whenever you see like 3 dot da da da, it means water. It means
it looks like 3 drops of water.
Yeah, exactly. 3 drops of water, and it means that character has something to do with water.
Or liquid.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, all the characters that has this, they're like the sea, the ocean, the river, the liquid.
All kinds of drinks.
Have this component in it. So let's.
Try to get rid of the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So this thing on the left, right, are 3 drops of water, and then on the right we have the big bottle of liquor or alcohol.
Yeah. So how can you help students get remember this?
I think the thing on the right, which is sheet, right? I think it looks like a jug already. So I think, and it has like a kind of a stopper, a top that you put in it. But then also it has the line. So I've always thought of that as like, the person or whatever, it's a partially emptied jug of liquor, right? And so that's the remaining alcohol.
So basically, this is the alcohol, right? And then this is the entire thing is the jug, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what like an ancient Chinese jug looks like. Yeah.
And this is jiu.
Yeah, jiu.
Yeah, there's like these big things, and they hold on to like these giant jugs of sake and giant jugs of qingjiu and baijiu, right?
Yeah. So this is jiu, which means alcohol. Okay. So that's jiu, character jiu on the image. All right. So this one is shui.
So this is the actual character by itself for water, right? The one we just talked about is when you take this character and you squeeze it on the left of another character to make it about water, then it turns into the 3 dots. But when it's spread out and it's full form,
Yes, in Chinese characters, there are certain characters that they are standalone characters, and there are certain ones that they're called radicals. They're part of a character, and they're usually a little. Just sort of like a distorted version of the entire character.
To fit it in there, right?
And so this is actual shui. Okay, repeat after me. It's shui, right? So how does shui, where does this come from? So Jason, what does this look like to you?
Like a snake with wheels. No, I have no idea. I'm just thinking of like weird things. But yeah, it looks like a river, right? With like little ponds or like kind of tributaries or something kind of going into it, maybe.
So this is the original shape of shui. Actually, the very ancient shui looks like this one, right? But gradually, this is like mainstream, and then you have like little streak, whatever. But gradually, all these shui, they're converting to one point, right? Can you say, I don't know how to describe this.
Yeah, like a tributary or something.
Yeah, just like they all.
I don't know the ecological term for it myself either. But
they all converge into like one point, right? So this is sort of like that point. And that's why the shui is like this. So each time you see something like this, right, they're all converting here, and that's shui, water. Yeah,
nice.
But it originally comes from this one. Okay. So let's see this one.
So at the top, though, we have alcohol, water. But that's not really what it means, right?
Alcohol, water together, 酒水 just means drinks.
So sometimes a 酒水单, so the 酒水 menu won't have any alcohol in it.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like this one, this means tea, and this one means tea. This means coffee.
What's cool about tea too is the character here. So cha, right, also has the grass radical. So if you're looking at the drink menu and you see the grass radical, well, it's probably tea.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Or some sort of other tea-like drink, I suppose.
Yes, cha, right? Like chai. You know, do you like to drink chai?
You like Indian chai? Yeah, for
Indian
sure.
Chai, yeah. 酒水蛋. Okay, let's continue.
Yeah, we can now. This is definitely an alcohol menu, obviously.
酒, right? 酒.
So all of these are 酒.
Yeah, the most famous Chinese beer is 青岛啤酒. 青岛, right? You can do 青岛. So, hey, Jason, let me test you. What is this?
So this is the character we learned earlier, right? 鸡 meaning bird or chicken. But why would there be chicken alcohol?
There's a certain kind of alcohol that has chicken.
That's right.
That's
cocktails.
Cocktails, yes.
So the same thing, like a cock or a rooster from English is used in the word cocktail, just like that in Chinese. It's directly translated into Chinese.
It's exactly
so chicken tail, cocktail.
Yeah, cocktail.
鸡尾酒.
鸡尾酒. Cool. Let's continue. See, you're learning so much.
I know.
Okay, so this one. So we already learned the right-hand side, right? Remember? What is this again?
Water.
Right, everything come together,
Yep.
right? So they all come here, so that's shui. So what I want to teach you here is this. So this is not 3 dots, right?
It's only 2, yeah.
Yeah, only 2 dots. And so what does 2 dot mean?
There's less water. That would be my pretend newbie brain.
So, you know, they're saying that, okay, so this means cold. So whenever you see this 2 dot, it just means cold. 3 dots water, 2 dot cold.
Okay.
Yeah. So
And what it's actually also like frozen water, right? So frozen.
so yeah, so let me so basically when the water becomes really, really, really cold, when it's frozen becomes what?
Bing.
Yes, bing. This means bing.
My dog's name is actually Bing Bing. That's this character.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But she's
Bing,
not
bing.
cold, she's warm.
No, she's very warm. Yes.
Yeah. So bing, it means ice. You know, when you say 冰水, so you put 水 next to
You
it.
have ice water.
That means you have ice water.
Yeah. Nice and
Yeah.
easy.
Okay, so what I want you to walk away with this is that whenever you see the 2 dots, you know it's cold, something cold, okay? So let's see this used in real situation. Okay, so cold. All right, so let's see this one. So this means juice, and this is pronounced 汁.
Sure.
All right.
Sure. It's a nice and simple character too, right?
So we're familiar with this character, this
Yep.
radical,
Water, liquid,
yeah, 3 dots.
and then a
3.
cross.
Yeah, and a cross. Okay, so this is the Chinese character.
Sure.
Yeah.
Meaning 10.
Yeah, when so like have you ever negotiated or bargaining with a Chinese person? They would do like this.
Sure. I think I just did it naturally as we were talking.
Yeah, like very aggressively. They're just doing like
10 块钱.
10块钱, yeah, sure, right? So they're a bunch of
They're not going, no, 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 and like chiding you or whatever.
yeah, they're just doing 10,
Yeah.
sure, right? So there are a bunch of Chinese characters. They're called meaning and sound character. So part of it, for example, like this character, right? This part indicates the
meaning.
which has something to do with the water,
Or
right?
liquid, yeah.
And then this side has something to do with the sound of it, which is 时. So this is 知 and
Yep.
时, they rhyme with each other.
Yep, they have a similar pronunciation, right? And maybe at some point in ancient Chinese they had the exact same pronunciation or something.
Yeah, but like now,
they're
but
still very close.
yeah, exactly. So 知 means like juice. Okay?
So water.
Yes. Let's see some example.
So I see rice juice. If I only use the characters we learned so far, right? In the second one here, I
Let me
see
see.
rice juice.
Oh my gosh, yes, I didn't even
But
notice
it's not
this.
actually rice juice, right?
Yes, this 玉米 means like corn.
Corn.
Close.
So the word for corn is yumi, which is like technically jade rice,
Yeah,
but it
Jade.
just means corn.
rice juice. Yeah.
We have another type of zhi.
Yeah, there's a 汁.
Oh, there's
this is all
it's mostly
汁.
zhi. Yeah.
This is all 汁, right? And this is all 汁.
Nice.
Here, I want you to say something. See something here, like here. Right, this one.
So we see the cold, right?
Yeah, the 2
radical.
dot, right? So
Yeah.
this means that this side of the drink section of the drink is cold,
Yep.
and this side of the drink is warm because
Warm.
it has this radical of 4 at the bottom. It's like
Yes.
a fire, right?
Yeah.
So that means something is hot. So it means 热.
It's like little flames underneath it, right?
Yes, very good description there. Okay,
Cool.
cool, huh? You see, this is really awesome stuff. And then again, you see. Okay, this is something I want to show you real quick. You see this one.
Ah. So, yeah, go ahead. I know what that is, but yeah.
You have something cold, right? Ice, right? And then you also have some liquid stuff.
Yeah, it's like ice liquid.
Ice liquid, like a juice, but it's like kind of icy. What do you think of this?
It's like a slushy, right?
Slushy, or it can be what's it called, like sorbet. It's similar. I think it's sorbet or slushy. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's like a mix of ice and liquid, right?
Yeah. So you see, just by the radical itself, you will be able to tell what this drink is. Interesting, huh? All right. So let's continue. So there's by the way, there's still so many 汁 here. See, this is all like fruit
Yep.
juice, right? Okay. And then 鸡肉. Okay. So we're gonna continue to see more examples very quickly. Okay, this one.
So we can already tell what it is because the picture's already on there. But the left side, right, is liquid.
And this side is liquid, and then this side, it's really hard to see, so let's see an image, huh? Okay.
So this is soup.
Yeah, what do you think of this one? I think this is really good.
Yeah.
If you guys have something different, where you think that's maybe even better, and then share it with us.
Yeah, so this is any sort of soup-like thing, right? So any hot liquid dish with food in it as well is considered a tang.
Tang,
right?
Tang, yeah, T-A-N-G first tone, tang, right? Okay.
That's good though. I can see that, right? There's the ladle in the side of the bowl, and yeah, it's spilling out kind of for sure.
Yeah. You know, really learning Chinese characters sometimes is so much fun because you have to use your imagination and visualize.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot. That's like the challenge of Chinese characters is that they're visual, but that's also what makes them so much fun to learn, right? It's not just a downside. It's actually a positive thing too. It makes it more enjoyable and fun.
Yeah, sometimes it has logic, sometimes it doesn't. When it doesn't, you just have to come up with your own stories.
Yeah.
So this is the whole menu about tang. You see here, tang.
Nice. So now we know this whole section is tang, and if I would have known that on my first day in China or whatever, I wouldn't have accidentally ordered 2 giant bowls of soup.
And there's like a rou tang. So
nice.
like
so you know that's a meat one. Yep. And even here we have beef. So we have pork, or not beef. Not pork, but beef. Cow meat.
Yes.
Yep. Exactly.
Let's continue.
Nice. 牛肉汤.
Oh. Okay, then a tang again. So many tang.
Yeah, Chinese people love soups. We should say that too. If you go to a typical restaurant in China, sometimes it has like 25 soups.
Especially the people from the southern part of China, they're all, you know, people from Guangdong, Guangdong province, Hunan, they're all about tang. They think that the tang is the most nutritious thing ever.
Yeah, it's very healthy. And also, what's interesting too is that a lot of restaurants in China, they don't expect you to order a drink. They expect you to order a soup, and that's what you drink. And by the way, just to mention, you use the verb he, tang. So you say, I'm going to drink some soup. You don't say, I'm going to eat soup, right?
Yeah, like the soup in the West is very thick. It's almost like a meal.
Yeah.
But in China, like we drink soup as a drink. Like
like a healthy, warm drink to go with your meal, right?
Yeah, and so they have this like even 土鸡汤. You see like a dirt chicken.
Chicken soup.
It doesn't mean
Sounds
it's dirty.
Good.
It doesn't mean the chicken is dirty. It means just the chicken is like organic.
Yeah, or it was nice.
Like free range.
Oh, you know, whenever I have 土鸡, when I've ordered that before or seen it cooked, I see it in this like earthen pot, and then it's baked like in a clay pot.
Yes.
So I've always associated the tu with the clay there.
Oh, I see. But also 土鸡 itself
chicken.
Means those chicken that are not like raised in those big farms.
Domesticated or whatever. I guess they're still domesticated, but free range or something.
Exactly. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so now the last character we're gonna see is this. Okay, so people are Chao, right? They're like doing
This is making me hungry.
Yeah, I know.
And he's got his masterful, like, you know, a bunch of those 8 pans or whatever they're called, with all of his delicious spices and sauces. So he's cooking in this massive wok, right? And that's important because the character we're about to learn is actually directly related to this kind of cooking, right?
The first character we need to learn is the really important one is huo, which means
fire.
Yes.
Sorry, I spilled it. Huo.
So yeah, it's a pretty good image, right?
Yeah. It looks like a campfire, or 2 pieces of wood with the flames coming out. Definitely.
Yeah, huo. Okay. So huo in itself is a character that can stand alone. It means fire, and when it's part of a character, because each Chinese character is a square. So if a part of a character needs to be part of another character, it has to be squeezed itself it distorts itself to fit that, right?
Yep.
So
it's like you got to learn the mini version of the character as well, right?
Yes. So this is the huo character on it. Real quick, okay? So just now I mentioned huo is the radical that means like fire, right? So you see here, this is the menu we saw earlier. You see like 2 characters that all have huo in it, right? So this means like
fire.
Fire. No, barbecue.
Yeah. 烧烤.
Yeah, barbecue. Okay, 烧烤.
Yeah, barbecue.
Yeah.
So 2 fires usually indicates barbecue. Usually.
That's pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, you know, like this is 烧烤, right? So there's huo.
So back to these, this is from earlier as well.
See, this is the menu we saw earlier, but now you know more. There's like the radical here, right? The grass radical. There's 土豆, right? 土豆, the earth bean. There are many, many things, right? Okay. Okay, so the last character we're teaching you is Chao, which is to fry. So you...
Yeah, and that's like that image of that guy cooking, right? So we have the... no, you gotta click here.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No, you gotta click here. No.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, okay.
So the image of the guy cooking with the wok, right? And this Chao is Chao Fan or Chow Mein, so fried. But it doesn't mean deep fried. It specifically means, or even fried in a small pan. It specifically means fried in a huge wok, essentially.
Stir fry.
Stir fry,
Chao.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a big fire, and that's why it's great that it has the fire radical in it on the left, right? So I hope you remember that it's this big, huge flame, cooking and stir frying. And so when you get fried rice and you get fried noodles, Chao is the character here that you're gonna wanna look out for.
Right, okay, just memorize.
And this is a great image. I love this kind of like the wok is so, they're stir frying so much that it's like flying out everywhere.
Yes.
Which is totally how people stir fry, right?
That's Chao, okay? All right, so let's see a few menus and then we're going to show you something else. Okay, so let's just do something real quick. What do you recognize here?
All right, so I see a 土豆 at the top. I see Chao and something with the grass radical. So I know that this is some sort of probably stir-fried vegetable.
Exactly.
Let's see. I see another. Let's see the row here. So 鱼香肉丝. So there's meat, chicken, pork because there's no animal before that meat. Yeah, some grass radicals. But then we get to the bottom right, which is one of my favorite areas.
Chao fan.
So we have fried rice, right? So Chao fan is fried rice, and all you gotta do is look for Chao and fan and put them together.
And then you even have 牛肉, Chao fan, the beef
fried rice,
cow meat fried rice,
exactly.
right?
And so now think about that. We just went through a couple characters, and now you're able to read a 4-character dish on the menu. Whereas when maybe you first started, you couldn't read anything. It seemed so overwhelming. And now you're seeing that actually the names of these dishes are super logical. So if you just learn some of the most fundamental key components, you can read almost anything on it.
Okay, cool. And I think that we're running out of time a little bit, so we're not going to go through everything.
But these are great. We can actually maybe...
we're going to give you the link. So pretty much now you can just search on Baidu.com, you know, which is the Chinese Google, or just Google. You can search for 菜单. If you search for 菜单, like C-A-I-D-A-N, 菜单, and then you can see all the Chinese menus, and then you'll be able to just picking words that you know.
Yep, and we'll also be putting up a blog post with a lot of images from these menus and also the characters that we taught and stuff like that. And which kind of brings us to what we also wanted to talk about, which is our character course that we have on the website uses this exact kind of approach.
Absolutely. So we have this character course called Yoyo 300. We're teaching you the most basic 300 characters. Of course, we're working on the next 300 right now. But for now, that you can learn the most 300 characters and be able to read up to 64% of all Chinese text, because Chinese characters is all about building blocks.
Yeah, like...
So why don't we show them something?
Yeah, you basically only need to start with the most frequent and useful Chinese characters. And like we showed today, it's possible to do that in a much more, I think, logical way than you might assume. You look at them and you think, oh, they're so complicated and there's so many of them and it's very overwhelming. But in reality, there's tons of little tricks for each one. And as you learn individual characters,
hello, welcome to the first video of the Yoyo 300 series. This is the first lesson of level 1.
In each lesson, we are teaching like 3 characters, and then these are 3 characters that we are teaching in this lesson.
Yeah, each lesson covers 3 characters and goes over some of the images we use to help you remember the mnemonics, but then also has other stories about them and the origins of the characters and stuff like that, words that are used in. And we also do have lecture notes for each one that shows you how to write the characters and also how to remember them and where you can see them in real life. So those are really useful. You can print them off for writing.
Yeah, have a chance to actually write them stroke by stroke if you want to. But for our character course, actually we emphasize on typing, not reading and typing, not writing characters. But we do give you a chance to practice writing if you want to.
Exactly. And so just like our other courses, every single one of the lessons comes with this practice session after it, right? So you can go through all of the vocabulary from that lesson. But one of the cool things about the character course is that we have a typing tool that we teach you the pinyin, we teach you how to type, so that even if you don't have the time or interest in learning how to write Chinese with a pen, you're starting to type it right away from like the first lesson. And we run you through that. And then there's a quiz that I'm going to skip to right here. But the quiz also obviously creates all types of fun questions to help you remember everything in the lesson. But just like we did today in the Hangout, we also have a question type that uses real world pictures. So basically takes photographs from the street in China or maybe from brands on the internet or advertisements or something, and kind of asks you to recognize these characters in the wild rather than just next to the pinyin in your textbook, right? Which is really easy.
So for our conversational Chinese course, that we use the actual footage of interviewing Chinese people, right?
Yeah.
But for character course, we use the signs where the actual thing Chinese people see, like this one, right?
So this is the character for person that you learned in this lesson, and quite a bit, and not too long later, you'll learn the character for net, and eventually you can read this whole sign just through the character course. But yeah, so it takes these real world images from books and stuff like that, and that to the next level, and use the character course, because we do, like you said, 300 characters, and you'll enjoy hopefully every minute of it, and then come out of it with a lot of character knowledge.
Yeah, our first 2 units are free, so please go to our website and start taking our character course.
Yes.
All right, so now we are going to take some questions from you guys, and I know it has been very long, so thank you so much for hanging out there with us, okay? So, so let's see.
All right, here we go.
Let's see,
I think if you click there, and now you should be able to scroll.